Okay, we are in Shmuel Aleph. So please subscribe to the channel, give it a thumbs up, hit the notifications. That's right, we want to get to 1,000, simple 1,000 subscribers. That way we get paid for this station. We meaning I, okay? And all the ads. So when you see ads, if that ever should happen, well, just click onto them. That's called clickbait. Thank you very much. Okay, so we're in Shmuel Aleph. Okay, like I said, what's going on? Let's remind, since you weren't here, so let's just give the update here. Shaul now knows for a long time already that his kingdom is going to be usurped by somebody, that he lost it because of his sin. He'd not listened to Hashem. Hashem through Shmuel told him, you will no longer be king. When you die, you will no longer be king. That's the end of it. Somebody will take over, and not your family. So he doesn't know who it is. He doesn't know that it's David. Nobody knows it's David except for Shmuel and maybe some of David's closest friends if he told them. But for the most part, I don't think anybody knows officially that he's going to be king. So Shaul, though, has a suspicion that it's David because of how fast David has risen through the ranks, and how people are talking about. Again, they said Shaul killed the thousands and David with 10,000. So he didn't take that as a compliment. Shaul did not take that as a compliment of, you only went with 1,000 to war and you won. That was miraculous, and David needed 10,000. He took it the other way. That is insulting. That David has more clout, and he's killing 10,000 while I only killed 1,000. So he's not taking that kindly, and so he decides that he was going to marry David off to his daughter. So for some reason, his daughter Merav was engaged, certainly Mekadesh, to somebody else, whatever you want to call Mekadesh again, not full marriage, but it was Mekadesh, to Adriel. That's his name?
Yeah, he was the other.
Yeah, Adriel, right? Adriel. And so now David doesn't get her. And yet, just remember, David was promised one of the king's wives because he killed Goliath. That's it. Oh, I'm sorry, one of the king's daughters, thank you. Okay.
How many wives did he have?
Shaul? Shaul only had one that we know of. David's the only one who's going to have eight. I think it's 8. He has either 6 or 8. No, 6. He has 6. How do I know? Because it says here or there. So God said it when it comes to Bathsheba. I'm really jumping the gun here, but just to get the point. It says when he took Bathsheba and married her, Hashem said, I would have given you like this and like this. He already had 6, so the rabbis learned that the most a person should have is 18 wives. Because 6 times 3, this and this, like this and this. So that was equivalent to 18. Altogether, 6 plus 6 plus 6. Okay, so you shouldn't have more than 18 wives. Good luck when you... Again, if you'd have to go to the verse, but it says when David is being confronted by Natan the prophet in God's name, and with the incident of Bathsheba, which is going to come up much later, it's Natan says, in the name of God, I would have given you. You already have 6 wives. Right now, he already had 6 wives. She said, I would have given you like this or like this. So the rabbis learn like this or that, like this means 6 or 6. In other words, altogether 18 wives. If I would have done it legally, I would have let you have up to 18 wives. Okay, that's what they learned. So they, when we get to the verses, you'll see it. You'll see it, because I don't remember the words offhand. But from there, we learn 18 altogether. So good luck. We have problems with 1 wife. Never mind to go. And I'm sure that David said the same about us. Okay, we have problems with 1 husband. So fine. I don't know who can handle 2 or 3 or 20 wives, whatever you can do. I'm not sure how Solomon did it with 300 wives and 700 concubines. Well, actually, probably why he lost all his money. So it says he was rich. He was Koheles. He says, I went broke. Right. So I had all the money. I lost all the money. With that many people to have to do things, I'm sure that it doesn't work out. But nonetheless, Now David is promising, now Shaul is promising, or trying to convince David to marry Michal, because Michal likes David. So that's Michal's the other daughter, youngest daughter. And so finally David is convinced to do it. And so Shaul then says, the only thing I want as your mohar, your dowry, thank you, is 100 foreskins of the Plishtim. That's all I want. Give me that, and we'll call it even. That's how you'll earn my daughter. And now it doesn't mean that he has to stand there and you're going to kill the Plishtim, and you'll show that you have the foreskins. That's all you have to do. That, and again, the Malbim said, why did he want that? One is so that the Plishtim would forever hate David, even if he survived. They would forever hate David for doing such a heinous act in the act of war, because when people are fighting in wars, there are rules of engagement, and thus you have the Geneva Convention, but it's called rules of engagement. And you can do certain things you cannot. What you cannot do is defile dead bodies. Okay, you can't embarrass, and even for the opinion that says he did it while they had not yet died, so that would be at the throes of death. Okay,
Maybe torture.
Right, that would be a torture. So that wouldn't be good. So either way, he's not going to, and the odds are, by the way, if he goes into war, he'll die. So either way, either he'll die, and I'll be through with him, and I'll be rid of this David, and I won't have to worry about him being the usurper of my kingdom. Or, even if he does, he'll forever have enemies in the Plishtim. And we all know the Plishtim come back. They never die. They keep coming back. They're like the Energizer Bunny. They just keep coming back. They go back a little, but otherwise they will keep attacking. Okay.
When is he giving him his daughter to marry, or whoever it is?
Michal. Well, once he comes back with the 100 aralot.
Oh, so it's after the war. Okay.
Yeah, so after the war, he comes back with 100 foreskins, and he's good. It's good. David says no, and Shaul says then you can have it. It seems like a crazy request, but nonetheless, the king asked for it. That's it. Fine. And he's saying, I want to embarrass them, and I want to get revenge from the enemies. That's his concept. But really, he wants that David die in the war. Okay. So now we're on 26. Vagidu avadav David ed hadvarim. So the Shaul's servants told these words to David. V'yishar hadavar b'nei David, and so the words were correct, or it seemed just in the eyes of David, and which means that as soon as David says what was seemed correct, lahavi ha'arlot, to bring these foreskins, lidchatein b'melech, and then to become the chasen, the son-in-law to the king. Okay, that's how the simple understanding would be. And then he says, lidchatein b'melech, to again become like I said, the son-in-law, v'lo mal'u hayamim, and the days were not completed, which means haytolo zaman laviyam. He gave him a set time to bring them, but David mahir lahaviyam ad shel nishlam hayamim, and David was so inspired, if you will, that he brought them before the time limit. He didn't wait. Whereas when you're given a time, the boys here in school, they're probably really good students. And so when the teacher says, I will give the class until October 29th to get their assignment, and I'm sure the boys here have it in by October 13th, just because they're such good students. But most students will wait for, I said October 29th, so they will wait for October 28th to realize they haven't yet even turned the computer on or looked at the book that they have to do. They will then pull an all-nighter. They will test, and because either they'll use dictation software today, or in the old days, they would have gone with their electric typewriter or their standard, boom, 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 the whole night through. They would see the sunrise. That would be the first time they saw sunrise without drinking. And then they would, with eyes held up by the toothpicks, and they would deliver it to their professor and say, "Here." Or as I once went to my professor. I remember this. It was a course. It was my freshman year in college, and it was an independent study. Something you should not give to freshmen, by the way. Never give freshmen.
That's usually third and fourth.
Right, but that's okay. Yeah. But I got an independent study, and so I came in, but I was coming from high school where we understood deadlines are deadlines. That's it. So I came to him with my paper, and he said, but when he saw me come in, he said, "So you're asking for an extension, right?" I said, "No, here's my paper." He said, "You finished it?"
Oh.
Okay, give it to me. Have a great day. He expected me to ask, because that's what independent studies do. I didn't realize that I had, it's like the speed limit. I didn't realize that 65 doesn't mean 65, that it really means 74. I didn't know that. Okay, but that is what you learn in college sometimes. But like I said, if you're a good student, you want to get it done before. You're an overachiever, as you will. So that's what he was here, according to, again, the simple understanding. That's what he was, the overachiever. He did not wait till the time limit, but rather he got it done before that time. Okay, so now, yeah.
Did he do any more? He overachieved
By getting the 100, in other words, he got it before the time limit.
Before the time limit, but did he overachieve on the amount that he should have gotten, or did he get 100?
Yeah, did he bring 200 just to be a good boy, or what?
You don't want to disobey the king.
Right.
We're going to find that out. Okay, we'll find that out. That's a cliffhanger. Whether he got more than he had to. So let's just go slow, because it's going to be the next verse. That's what I'm saying. Okay, so let's go slow. That's a good question. Yeah, so the Malbim says that was good in his eyes. What does that mean? Rotza lemor hagam shedavar mitzad atzmo lo yasha beinav. That even though David has a conscience, and it was not good from his point of view, because this is not the normal engagement of warfare. Notice he's also a warrior. Okay, he doesn't want to do anything against the rules of engagement. But it was correct in his eyes from the side of the purpose. Shiasig al yado, that would be reached upon its act. So he's not really for circumcising Pelishtim, either dead or alive. That's not. He's saying that's not nice, but the king wants it, and the result will be that I get Michal out of that. Okay, so the ends justify the means. That's what we're seeing here. Okay, that's number one. So then, now let's go to the next verse and see what happens. So Vayakam David. David went, Vayela got up, Vayelech hu ve'anashav. And he and his men went vayach bepelishtim atayim ish. Oh, they killed 200 pelishtim, overachiever. Okay. Double the amount. Vayave David ed arlo to him, and David brought their circumcisions. Vayamal lemelech, and they were full for the king, as it were, to the king. In order to fill that part to the king. Vichatem b'melech, in order to become the keep slipping on this word, the son-in-law of the king. Vayitin lo Shaul, that Michal be told the Isha. And so Shaul gave to him Michal, his daughter, as a wife. Okay, so there you go. Now you know he's an overachiever, and he brought more than he should have brought. And that's what the Mitzvah David says. Wait a second. It says, V'yimal v'hishlim et kol matayim. He completed all the 200. Im shalo amar ki im. Even though that the king only asked for 100, nonetheless he got him. He got everything done. Yeah.
Rabbi,
Yes.
Were these Plishtim foreskins where they got off of dead Plishtim, or when they killed 200 Plishtim? Were they warriors, or did they just come into Plishtim territory and just kill?
No, the warriors.
Oh, okay.
Again, the point was to embarrass the Plishtim.
Right.
So the absolute worst thing for a warrior is to be
Left alive and maimed.
no. To die disgracefully.
Oh, okay.
That's the absolute worst. In other words, when the United States troops did what they did in Vietnam. Okay, that was an embarrassment to the country because they represent us. So I'm not saying everybody, by the way.
They weren't such good boys in Iraq either.
Iraq, I don't know. Okay, Iraq also.
Hideous photographs.
Okay, there you go.
On the prison.
Yeah.
Okay, so anytime our armed forces do something that is not nice, if you will, not the normal rules of engagement, it's an embarrassment for the country because they're representing us. By the way, this again goes all the way back to when you don't do something correct, okay? You are embarrassing your parents, which is why we always say, don't embarrass me, right? You're going out, don't embarrass me. Just when the worst thing is when a teacher would say to the parent that little Shlomo, I don't want to use my kid's name, little Ruvain, he's a little mazik, which means that he's a damager, but it's a very insulting term. And Shmendrik goes along with that, and you don't want to hear that. That's when you want to go home. And in the old days, they would. In the old days, your parents would come home and smack you for it. Okay? There was no, you embarrassed them, and that was it. If you,
In New York, they would do that.
wherever it was. Again. In the old days, the parents had their hands fly. It wasn't what it is today. But you would be smacked or punished, whatever the case is going to be, because you embarrassed them. That was an embarrassment. Nobody wants to hear that. They all know what the kid is. They don't want to. But I remember I said to one parent, "Your daughter is so quiet, so wonderful. It's a pleasure having class." She said to me, "You have the wrong daughter." That was always the classic line of parents. You must have the wrong daughter. You must have the wrong son. In my house, they're off the wall. Then they tell me what's going on. So, okay, is this your daughter? Yeah, okay. So again, in class, you did something right because she's a little tzaddikus. She doesn't do anything. Thank you so much, Rav. I don't know what you do. Fine. But it's, everybody wants to hear that. And then when they come home, they give the kid a kiss or whatever they do to reward the child for not embarrassing them in public. Okay? So that's what is going on here. Yeah. For bringing more than he asked?
Yeah. The time limit doesn't imply that you must bring it by that time.
A time limit and a quantity amount.
Right. If you can't go beyond it, you can go whenever within it, right?
Right.
An amount limit. If you bring me 98, you're embarrassing me. You're below the mark. If you bring me more, you're trying to one up my orders. You're embarrassing me. You're disobeying orders.
I think that Shaul would have run into. Remember, Shaul still has to watch the polls, as it were, the public polls. So you can't you sent him out on a fool's errand to get him killed. So now he gave you more. You can't punish him for that. That's not justified. Yeah, again, you have to watch. Shaul is playing the long game here, where he wants to get rid of David. So by the way, it works for Shaul too, because if you took 200, my order is for 100. So when the policeman would come to Shaul and say, "What kind of vindictive person?" No, I agree with you, but I can't do anything. It was my general. He got a little overzealous, and you know what? I won't say anything if you won't. I'll turn my head. Go ahead, do what you need to do. I understand. But so there's a lot of ways he could have done. Again, the long game was to get rid of David. If he's that open about it, so then everybody knows that, and they may take him out of power anyway. In other words, the people may take him out of power. That's what we call a coup, right?
How much time had passed since the Goliath?
Again, Shaul is only in power for 2 years altogether. So you're looking at very small time periods here. It may be a month, 2 months, 3 months.
Because he couldn't have been their favorite person. I'm still going back to this word, a snare. That in other words...
The girl should be the...
That's right. Well, revenge for killing Goliath is also a reason for that. A reason hasn't gone away yet for them to hate him.
No. With Goliath, it was not That was Goliath was the one who came and challenged.
Yeah.
That's you can't hate me for challenging. I beat you.
But afterward, they all ran.
Yeah, they ran, but you can't hate me for that. Your champion came out. We sent our champion out. Our champion beat yours. That's the rules. That's the rules of engagement. You can't hate me for that. If, on the other hand, he would have done something to defile the body more than like this to really embarrass the warrior, they may have had reason. On top of that, Goliath was not a Pelishti, right? I don't think he was a Pelishti. He was from. You have to look back.
Well, that's on the side. That's the side of the hill he was on.
Yeah, that's fine, but you have to wait. Let's go back.
They brought in a ringer. You're saying.
I'm pretty sure. You have to find Goliath. Where was Goliath? Yeah, I want to make sure because if he's not, when you find it, you tell me. It has to be here. Who's he?
Could have been one of those Swiss guards for hire.
God, from God, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. So he wasn't even a Pelishti. So they brought in the ringer. The ringer came in and the ringer lost. Okay, what do you want from me? You have you put your money on the wrong person. That's all. You cannot be upset. I didn't challenge you. I was answering the challenge, and that's it. Okay, I wasn't the aggressor. That's why, by the way, whenever you look at that story of David and Goliath, you always people like to use that as the underdog versus the winner.
The underdog isn't usually the aggressor.
Right, the underdog's never the aggressor.
Yeah, well, I also remember Israel being told to not fire first, like if they expected to get our help.
Right. But today, Israel is Goliath, and the Pelishtim are the Palestinians, or the Arab world actually, is David. And that's how they want to paint it.
Yeah.
It's like the ultimate reversal in terms. Where Israel is a big, bad, mean superpower, and the entire billions upon billions of Arabs, they're David. they're the undefended masses. It's such foolishness when you realize the numbers that you're talking about. But nonetheless, okay. So here we go. Everybody good?
Yep.
Okay. So now Vayar Shaul saw Vayeda, and he knew Ki Hashem im David. So now he knew that Hashem was with David, Michal bat Shaul, and so Michal bat Shaul ahavat who loved him. Okay. Fine. So what happens? What is he seeing? Again, Metzudas David goes for the simple understanding here. He, by the way, again, I can't say enough. Metzudas David is basically the Rashi, if you will, of Tanakh. You want to know what's going on simply, you look towards Metzudas David. Okay, he'll give you the simple understanding, and what we call pshat. So he says, "Vayar Shaul Tov." Shaul saw that Tov Hitzlachto, that the Hatzlacha, that his success was good, and she loved him. Ahavatehu, Ahevathu. She loved him. So v'tigale elav mishmetet avialo. That it was revealed to him when his father gave over to him, and this was guarded. Fine. So how do they translate it? That she loved him?
Yeah, loved him. Yeah.
Okay, fine. This and then what's it called? The Malbim says, "Vayar." What did he see? Shagam takbula zu lo hizika. Even he saw that even this incident, did not harm him. Yada yadia barura. He knew clearly Shah Hashem imo, that Hashem was with him. In other words, if you can get away with killing Pelishtim and then taking 200 foreskins from their bodies.
He didn't have a scratch, in other words.
Right, and there was no damage to you. That's clear. That's a Yediyah Barura. Clear indication. His knowledge is as clear as me seeing you right now that I know that he knows that Hashem is with him. V'gam Michal avet Vatu. He was thinking I know how to read Hebrew already. Also, Michal loved him. And that increases his hand, strengthens his hand to reach the kingdom. Why? That? That's right. You just assured yourself the usurper. You brought the usurper into your house and you married him to your daughter. Mazel tov, I'm messing up. Okay? Mazel tov, I'm messing up. So, good. And now, 29. V'yasov Shaul, so Shaul gathered, or the Roman Pnei David owed to do bad. It should be to, to be afraid of. The Mitzvah David, Mitzvah Sion says, Leiro means Milashon Mora Ufachad. He now is afraid of him again. So now the fear of David, the fear was increased. Vayishaul Oyev et David Kol Hayamim. And David would become the enemy of David for all the days.
Why are they using the word fear instead of something like sort of hatred or contempt?
Why would he hate him?
Why would he fear him?
Because he's going to be the next king. He doesn't want to lose his position. He doesn't hate him. Hate is a very strong emotion. No, he doesn't hate him.
But he had already tried to kill him at least once.
And he realizes he cannot. He fears him now. I'm in fear of him. I don't hate him.
Does he think he's going to lose his kingship sooner than he should have? Because he remains the king until he dies.
He doesn't know that. We know that. We know. Again, the beauty of the story is that we know what he doesn't.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay?
well,
We are, by the way, for all those who want to argue free will, now you know what free will is. We know the end of the story. We're God in this. We know the end of the story. We know everything's going to happen and how it happens. And we look at this and say, Shaul, man, if you would have just done this, you would have been able to, where the armchair, right, 24, what's it? 20, hindsight is 2020. Right, Monday morning. We can tell him what he should have done. We can say what kind of nonsense you should have lived out your life. Don't worry about it. Let Hashem take care of everything. You lost the kingdom, tough luck. Okay, just go on with it. Don't worry about it. Doesn't do that. He tries to manipulate. Well, you opened the door to the person you were suspecting, and guess what? You were right. Yay! Well, now you lost. So now I have a fear and trepidation because I, Shaul, am the only one who knows that this is happening. I can't tell my friends. I have no friends, by the way, because I'm the king. I have no friends. I can't tell my family because, what are they going to say to me? Dad, you're insane.
Yeah.
Huh? Right, take some aspirin.
He's paranoid, right?
You're paranoid. David's a good guy. Look what he's done for you. Everything you told him. He loves you. He's your son-in-law. He married your daughter. He's part of the family. It would be as crazy as, by the way, you're a rich man. You are a very rich man. You are unbelievable. Jeff Bezos calls you for advice. You. Who's Jeff Bezos? Amazon.
Oh, I have to recognize his voice.
Okay. Yeah. So Jeff Bezos is calling you for business advice. That's how famous you are. And that's how rich and famous you are. And more than that, you have a beautiful daughter. And a nice daughter, great. And so somebody comes and loves your daughter, doesn't know that you're so rich. It does, whatever. But loves your daughter, and your daughter loves him. And they get married. And you give and you just go on with it. Now,
well, I have to pay for the wedding.
Your paying for the wedding is me paying for your ice cream right now. Okay, that's the wedding because you're so rich. Again, if Jeff Bezos, the richest man in the world, is calling you, well, right now he's the fifth because he got divorced. Okay, His wife got half off, but we'll get half off, if not everything. But if you can afford that, you can afford anything. Fine. So now what happens is your son-in-law comes in the family, and you're getting along with your son-in-law, and suddenly you get a bee in your bonnet that your son-in-law wants to take everything from you. So what? He's going to get it anyway when you die, because he goes to your daughter. What do you care? Enjoy yourself now and go on with life. Shaul can't do that. Shaul's afraid. He has a trepidation that this guy is going to take over my son, over everything else, and he's going to grab the gold.
In other words, before he dies, he thinks he's going to be deposed.
Right, I'm going to depose you.
Okay.
Now I have to admit I had a cousin we thought he was uncle. I don't know, whatever we called him, Uncle Bob. I remember Uncle Bob. Yeah. I think everybody had an Uncle Bob. Okay, in those days, and he had a publishing company, and part of the publishing, the story goes, in this publishing company, the rule was at 65 you must retire, and he's the owner. And so what happened is they had a board of directors, and he hit 65, and they said, "Here's your walking papers." He said, "But I'm the owner."
Yeah.
The rule, you made the rule, and they took it away from him.
Is it?
Apparently, it was something.
The sole owner, or set up as a corporation?
Probably as a corporation, and they
so under a board of directors. So even though he would have the majority share, you're saying?
Yeah, they got rid of him.
He still got to follow those rules.
Right. So it's interesting that what he did was he retired and started something else. That's all. But that's.
Can I suggest the following about human
Nature?
something?
Yes.
Why would not this situation have been seen if David is now the husband of the king's daughter?
Right.
Wouldn't that be? How on earth would he take his own father-in-law's life? Wouldn't that?
Macbeth.
This is before Macbeth.
In Hachinami.
This is before Denmark.
The point is that all you need is a scheming wife or something like that, or a little bit of power. He wouldn't be the first one to, I guarantee you, he wouldn't be the first one to kill off his father-in-law.
If not kill him, to say, I'm more popular. My turn on the throne, kind of thing. And everybody else would be like, yes.
It wouldn't be hard to make a coup. As a matter of fact, by the way, David's son will do it to him. Avimelech. Well, Avimelech will usurp the kingdom from his father. So it's not hard. It's not hard to believe that you can get the kingdom. He even wanted to kill his father. It's not hard.
Who is this man?
This would be later on. Again, small bait. You have to stick around.
Yeah.
But Emir Hashem, and we'll still be here discussing it. Okay, we should be Zoiche for 200 years from now.
1,000 subscribers by then.
I better. It's gonna be all passive income for me. You know, it's gonna be funny when I look at this in 100 years. 100 years, and I see myself looking like this, and especially if I say, "Whoa, I actually do look like that," still tremendous. Okay, yeah, but the point is that Avimelech will try to kill his father, and he will not win. As a matter of fact, Avimelech will be killed, but not by his father. Somebody else, Avner, I believe. Yoav kills him, and then David goes into deep depression because his son was killed. Even though someone was trying to kill him, he goes into deep depression. And so it's interesting. But Shaul has a son. Let's understand something. He has a son, and normally the kingdom would go to the son, not the son-in-law. And yet he knows he's lost. He knows he lost the kingdom. He's trying to save it for his son. So now he has to manufacture something. Now, again, he's let the devil in his house. And
Son's name again?
Jonathan. So now he has to, so now he's afraid of him. It's not a hatred. It's not a hatred here. Right. I have a fear of you. I don't know what I'm going to do with you. How do I get rid of this person? Pelishtim couldn't do it. There was no power for the Pelishtim to kill him. There's no animosity. Well, I'm sure there's an animosity that keeps coming up, but from the Pelishtim. But from him, from Shaul, he has no animosity towards David. It's just, I have a fear of you. What are you going to do? Okay. So that was Chav 10. Okay, so, and again, the Malbim just adds to this. Why did it increase? Ayde Cain, because of all this, Ayde Cain, Gadla Hayira, Ve'eva, Shal Sha'ol. So now, by the way, here the Malbim wants to go live with you, Steve, and he says his fear and hatred. He's using the word hatred. He throws in hatred. Was growing below the prakim, and it wasn't for limited times, but now it's going to be all from all times. So it's going to keep increasing. So Malbim's going with you. Again, Pshat does not go with you. Simple understanding is he just is afraid of him. But it's and that's what they're saying. They wrote is I have a fear. But the Malbim is saying, increasing that to say, and his hatred is also coming up. Why? Probably because I hate to be afraid. So if I see you, if I'm afraid of you, I create the enemy. So an enemy I have to hate. So it could be that that's where he's coming to also. So the fear is causing him to hate. And by the way, that does work. I mean, think about it. Of how many people we're afraid of the other, right? The stranger. And then we ultimately hate the stranger.
How does usually, when a monarch marries off a child, they usually regard that as something they have ensured the prolongation, if that's
of the monarch.
That should bring inner peace, knowing that the kingdom will have been.
The kingdom only goes through the father, son. It doesn't go through the daughter.
Usually it's like an alliance with somebody else you want to be friendly with.
Right, but that's the daughter. So here, what is David offering him? There's no alliance here. There's nothing.
If a monarch, he represents something. It's continuity in a single word.
Right, but I'm saying, but that goes from father to son normally. It wouldn't go father-daughter because then the husband's going to bring it to his place.
So what about the inner peace of knowing that if it can't be my son, at least it's, the kingdom will have been secured.
There is no inner peace. Again, if Reuven marries his daughter Rivka to some other family, that family is going to take over all my stuff. I'll give you an example, okay? You have an engagement ring. The engagement with the diamond, okay? So what happens? Let's say it's an heirloom diamond, okay? You don't want to give it to your son to give it to his wife, because what's going to happen? You're going to lose the heirloom diamond, right? So what you want to do is you want to give it to your daughter, because your daughter is always going to be able to keep it. So you want to pass the heirlooms to the daughter, not to your son.
I wonder how they've done that in England with their crown jewels to the players.
I'm not sure, but I'm just saying. I can't answer on England. I'm just saying the logic would be that since the kingdom goes through the son, always the son, then you're concerned. You want to get the son married so he can have children, so that he can further the lineage, which is why you always want a boy. You always want a boy because you want to.
I know all this.
Right. So the girl is not. The girl is, you lose the lineage. Everything's lost. So nothing against girls. Look, we need women in the world too. But as far as lineage is going, even for today, you lose your name, right? For those who care about having their last name perpetuated throughout the centuries, if you have only daughters, you've lost. Unless they decide to put a hyphen by their name. And even so what? So they maintain it, but their kids don't maintain that hyphen. They only get the father's name. Okay? Unless, of course, the kids want to, for some strange reason. But it's not intergenerational forever. My last name is forever as long as we have boys in the family. But it's not, once the boys disappear, God forbid, or that's the, and I don't want anybody to disappear. So, but once they would disappear, it's done. I have relatives in Indiana that I knew about, Indiana. I knew about them, but I don't know them. They may be watching me on today on YouTube, who knows. But
Maybe 600 of your subscribers.
I should tell them all. Subscribe quickly, yes. But it was interesting because I didn't know that there were other Nebels out there that are related to me. I thought I was the last of the Mohicans. Myself, my brother. But I didn't know that there were really others out there. And I was surprised to see that there are other Nebels out there. So that was very surprising to me. Because I thought it was only girls that my father's cousin had. I didn't know there was boys. Okay. But you learn something new every day. Okay. So 30. So now the officers of Pelishtim went out. Vahi midei tzetam. Sachol dav mikol avdei Shaul. So then it was when they midei because every time that they went out, David was. It's interesting again. Sachal is enlightened, but again coming from that word, but it's. David is saying Hitzliach, he was successful. David was successful from all. He was the most successful from all of the servants of Shaul. Vayikar Shmo Ma'od, and his name was improved. It was very special. It was very honored, outstanding. Right? Okay, thank you. And so I'm looking at the. All the translations here, in the Hebrew. So I have to go from translation to tradition to my mind, right? And so what happens is from the Malbim, he says, "Vayetz be'emet," in truth. Kashi chashav Shaul yedei sechir aralot plishtim. That when Shaul considered that through the cutting off of the foreskins from the Pelishtim, Yaguru Oto Melchamot, Ad Mot Ba'ad Cherpatam, that he would cause them to again be angry, and because through the shame that they had experienced. Ki Yates Usari Pelishtim. So now when the Pelishtim went out, then Kom David, again he was right. They want to get revenge against David. Aval David lo yitchabei b'pneihem, but David did not hide from before them. V'nilcham, rather he went up to fight. You want to come up to fight? Let's have a rumble. Okay, let's get ready to rumble, sort of thing. V'hiskil yotir, and he was more successful than all the servants of David. V'tachat shechashav Shaul la'pilu al yedei Cain, and in the place of Shaul, wanting him to fall into their hands. It was the exact opposite. And what happened? Vayikar Shmo Ma'od. His name became very outstanding. So that's what's going on. He wanted this to work against him. So when the enemy keeps coming out to get revenge, David is tremendously matzliach. He's tremendously successful. His reputation is going beyond the realm here. He has a question first.
So the commentary in the article is saying that the Pelishtim, verse 30, the Pelishtim knew about the whole newlywed thing of going to a war. You don't have to go to war, but is that they had? I always think of the example like the enemies learn the culture of who they're fighting. Like, okay. It's a newlywed, so we can go and raid the Israelites, and we don't have to worry about David because he's married. It's for at least a year. And they go, and David shows up, and that's because it describes is saying that's only for the exemption of an optional war, but when it's an obligatory war, because the Pelishtim were supposed to be driven out of Israel to begin with, and weren't, they're always at war.
Well, the Pelishtim actually were not.
Right. So that's what I was asking about. The Pelishtim weren't part of that.
Right, they weren't part of the 7 nations.
Right. So why is the article saying obligatory?
I can't answer. Well, who they quote?
It says Midrash Shmuel.
Okay, so you have to ask for the Midrash Shmuel, but it's not an article. But it's the answer. The quickest answer I would give is when it comes to an obligatory war. In other words, you have a war of conquest. Yeah. That's what we call milchamet reshut. Yeah. When I want to go out to conquest, I need more land, so why not go out and do that? As opposed to somebody wanting to fight with you. Attacking you, which becomes more of the milchama of Achiv, I have to protect. So they were also coming out for David. There's a clear indication of coming out for David. So that's why he would be going to fight them more. And that's why, again, the point is, regardless of Midrash Shmuel, okay, to figure out why he thinks that, why he was, I have to see it inside, by the way. Inside means you have to look at the actual text. But you have to see what he's really talking about, because like I said, the Plishtim were not the 7 nations. So, but you'd have to look at the other side of that. Again, if I'm coming out for a specific person, you think I know English too, right? So then that person is going to have to defend himself. So you can't sit at home and say, I'm exempted from the war. Okay, yeah, you want to ask, Steve, yeah.
Back in whatever verse it was that he said he knew at that moment that Hashem was with David.
Yes.
He saw Saul that he was very good at military conquest. Was Saul considered a religious person at this time? Not
Yes.
a priest.
No, yes.
Yeah.
They all were religious.
And would he not have gone along peacefully then with the notion, the signal above all else, so clearly that David was to be this guy? Why wouldn't he teach him affairs of state? And why wouldn't he train him? Why wouldn't he start to groom him? For he missed every opportunity he possibly could have. Why didn't he, as long as that vision was clear, teach him how to be king, instead of continuing to hate him? What does that accomplish?
I think you're being too logical.
Well, that's
No, I think you're being too logical and removed from the situation. See, we all look at a situation and we say, well, if he would have just done A, B, and C, to this very day, by the way, even if they're still in power, okay? Trump, let's use Trump. Trump is the easiest one. Or even Ocasio-Cortez, both geniuses in their own right, okay? And so we look at each one of them and we say, if they would have just done this, I'll call Donnie up myself and say, Dawn.
Who's this Cortez?
She's the person, the Green Deal. What happened was she got Amazon kicked out of, I'm going to turn this off, okay?